One of the best ironies in this story is that Justice Antonin Scalia opened the door to same-sex marriage more than a decade ago. Judges have cited Scalia's dissent in the 2003 Lawrence v. Texas decision, which overturned anti-sodomy laws. At the time, Scalia wrote that the encouragement of procreation was an insufficient reason to deny marriage rights, since the sterile and the elderly are allowed to marry. That's similar to the arguments we heard in the previous segment Judge Posner make in the cases involving Indiana and Wisconsin. So, Chris, talk about the Scalia factor in all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it's something that supporters of marriage equality and lawyers and others who now are fighting for marriage equality do like pointing out, because it is sort of just desserts for Justice Scalia in their view, because he's been in dissent in all three of these gay rights cases at the Supreme Court. Romer back in 1996, Lawrence versus Texas that you mentioned in 2003, and then obviously in last year's Windsor decision striking part of the Defense of Marriage Act, and he has said, like, the logical end of what you're talking about in these majority opinions is going to lead to the end of bans on same-sex marriage, because it's the same sorts of arguments upholding those bans. Right. And so it is what it is.
Hey, Evan, the Associated Press has a story this morning about Hawaii Governor Neil Abercrombie saying he lost his Democratic primary re-election because of his support for same-sex marriage. He said, quote, "Republicans crossed over en masse to vote in the Democratic primary, and then the religious factor came in," Abercrombie said. "Doctrinally, I was outside the circle and paid for it." Evan, what do you make of this?
I think it's the governor's hurt by his stinging loss in the primary, and he made those statements, but there's actually zero, and I mean zero, evidence to support that proposition. He lost by more than 2-to-1 to a Democratic challenger who also supports the freedom to marry in a Democratic primary where Democrats, by overwhelming margins in Hawaii, like the majority of people in Hawaii generally, support the freedom to marry. And the polls afterwards showed that the voters did not indicate that that was the reason they rejected this sitting governor. So I understand his hurt feelings, and I think he should be proud of his legacy in having signed the Freedom to Marry bill, but there's absolutely no evidence to support that.
My thanks to Chris Geidner of BuzzFeed and Evan Wolfson of Freedom to Marry for joining us this morning. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Good to be with you.